back after a brief or not so brief hiatus. I was a little distracted with other things. Free to a good home. But now, with absolutely nothing else to divide our attention, it's time to get back to what truly matters in life: baseball. Specifically, this Blue Jays team that just got finished with this ridiculous stretch of either sweeping or being swept by everybody under the sun. A terrible stretch in Boston where we got swept in 4 games. Oh, that hurts so much. At the peak of their powers, it seems like that's the best Boston has or possibly will ever play this season, was that series. Great. And then a sweep of the Pirates in Pittsburgh where we ripped the mask off and revealed Scooby-Doo style that they were in fact the Pittsburgh Pirates. A mini 2-game sweep in Philadelphia where the bullpen forgot that there were games that day. I guess that's the only way to really describe what happened there. It'd be better if they just hadn't shown up, actually. Just go and drink Tim Mays' homecoming. Go have fun with that. We'll find some guys off the street. They might be able to pitch better than what we saw in that little mini-series. That was not great. And then coming home and sweeping the best team in the National League, the Atlanta Braves, because obviously. And over the course of those dizzying highs and stupefying lows, it was 6-6, a dead even record, a completely 500 baseball team over the course of 12 games. What? Baseball. It's hilarious. But the last game of the Atlanta series was also just about the quarter mark of the season, so it's time to take stock and figure out where we are. And where they are is 24-16. 600 ball club. That's probably going to average somewhere around 95, 96 wins at this current pace. And that's pretty much exactly what everyone, including me, thought. And the way they did it is pretty much exactly how you would expect them to do it. But first, we expect them to do it on the back of 3 really good starting pitchers and 2 question marks. Well, not quite. It hasn't been 3 really good starting pitchers. It's been 4. And none of them are named Alek Manoah. Kevin Gausman continues to be Kevin Gausman. He is even more Kevin Gausman than he was last year, where his predicted results are a little bit better than his actual results, and he'll pitch a dominant game in which he's somehow given up 3 earned runs just because guys run into breaking balls that didn't break, and that seems to be his thing. Really dominant stuff for long stretches, and then at the end of the game, he's somehow given up 3 earned runs. We don't quite remember how that happened, but whatever, it's still fine. He looks great. Chris Bassett had a terrible first game, and then he had another really bad game where he got super squeezed by the umpire, gave up a grand slam that shouldn't have happened, that has inflated his numbers. But otherwise, he has been dynamite, culminating with a complete game shutout of the Atlanta Braves in this series, in the first game of the series. And that's the first complete game shutout for the Blue Jays in almost 8 years? I had a hard time believing that, but it's true. Anyway, Bassett has been as advertised, maybe even a little better. He's been great. Fantastic pickup. Love him. Jose Barrios looks like Jose Barrios. He looks like the guy that we thought we were signing to this extension, where, yeah, he's going to throw some clunkers out there, but that's literally every pitcher in baseball is going to have some clunkers. But for the most part, he's very effective, keeps the team in the game, and when he's your 4th starter, you're in a great spot. Especially with the nominal ace of the staff being Yusei Kikuchi. Yeah, okay. I'm calling him the ace because the Blue Jays win when he pitches, and that's mostly what the definition of an ace is, right? When you need a win, this is the guy you throw out there. That's Kikuchi. The Blue Jays are 7-1 in games in which Kikuchi pitches. Who had that on their bingo card to start the year? Everyone with their hand up is a liar. No one had that on their bingo card. But yes, with everything going so rosily for the rest of the starting rotation as a whole, it's kind of taken some pressure off the fact that Alek Manoah has been bad. Like, I was trying to find another way to put it. I was trying to, make him say uneven or figuring stuff out. No, bad. Bad is the word. Like, the rotation has been fully healthy. It is now 8 starts for each of these guys at the quarter mark. That's really, really good. That is on pace for 32 starts for each starter. That's probably not going to happen, but that's amazing that we're even this deep into the season without having to need anybody else. I'm not sure many other teams are in that position. And 8 starts is enough of a sample size where you can say, okay, how are these guys doing? And in Alek's case, it's not good because the pitch that he uses the most and the most effectively, his slider, he's forgotten how to throw it, and that's a problem because he's not out there throwing 98, blowing guys away with smoke. He has to rely on deception, and when you can just remove his best pitch from his arsenal, hitters can kind of figure out what they're going to do with the other 2. I mean, he also throws a changeup, but maybe once every 50th pitch. It's not really something worth considering. It's really hard to succeed as a 2-pitch starting pitcher in baseball, and if you're going to have only 2 pitches, they better both be Robbie Ray style excellent. And that's not Alek's situation at all. His best pitch has been his slider, except right now, when it's his worst pitch and it's not competitive and teams can just forget about it and focus in on his slightly better than BP fastball. I remain bullish on Alec. I think he's going to figure it out. I think he's going to figure it out soon. Hopefully tonight, because we're facing the Yankees, and boy, they love teeing off on him because he does like to chirp at them. And if he doesn't have the stuff to back up his mouth, that could be a long day at the office. But I am convinced he is going to figure it out. And he doesn't even need to figure it out soon because everyone else is going along so well and the team is winning at the clip that we expect them to win at. So all is well. Take your time and figure it out, Alec. But it's like one of those things where like, take your time, but do it fast. Anyway, the starting rotation is in a good spot. Once Alec gets it figured out, we are money in the bank, baby. The bullpen has also been pretty solid. I was ready to write off Trevor Richards in the first couple weeks of the season because he started so weakly, but he has rebounded, and this is the best he has pitched as a Blue Jay. He looks great right now. You combine that with Nate Pearson having finally arrived and looking like a shutdown reliever that we thought he could be. Eric Swanson has been exactly what this bullpen needs. He has been the fireman. He's the high leverage guy who can get out of tough situations that we never really felt like we had last year. We have him. It's Eric Swanson. It's beautiful. Jordan Romano is about 90% effectiveness as to what he's been throughout the rest of his career, which is more than good enough. I was saying at the beginning of the year that one of the biggest, scariest things about this team is how much we relied upon Jordan Romano as like the big fireballing closer. He now throws his slider like it's his job, and his fastball is just an amuse-bouche to tempt you into the slider. It's pitching backwards. It's working, so it's fine. The fact that he doesn't seem quite as sharp with his fastball command or as willing to trust it as he has in the past is not a concern because he's still saving games. So less said on that, the better. Let's move on. And the rest of the bullpen has been fine. This is the only part of the team where we're a little bit banged up. Simber and Pop are still out, although they could be coming back soon. Guys like Jay Jackson are a nice story, but they're not necessarily the guys who are going to be there long term. Anthony Bass, it's unclear how much he has left in the tank. Jimmy Garcia is going through a rough patch, but I think he'll be fine. On the whole, the bullpen's fine. It's fine. In fact, it's better than fine. It's good. And the offense, everybody who's not named Alejandro Kirk seems to be in a pretty good spot right now. I mean, like, Kevin Biggio can't hit right now, but he hasn't been able to hit in a couple years. So, when he shows up, we'll be excited, but no one's counting on him at all. George has rather famously gotten some bad results for some good processes. He's hitting the ball hard, but right at guys. So when he does start to lose it a little bit, as happens, it looks uglier because he's like, oh, he hasn't hit all year. Not really the case. Anyway, he's hitting better in the most recent couple games, so maybe he's got it figured out. I don't think he didn't at any point have it figured out. I think he just got really, really unlucky at the start of the year. At the end of the year, his numbers will be where they need to be, but no one really cares what George Springer's numbers are in the regular season. We didn't get him for that. We got him to win the postseason, so we'll see you in October, George. Just stay healthy. But Bo's going to be an all-star this year. Vlad's going to be an all-star this year. Chappie's going to be an all-star this year. And if he keeps going the way that he's been going the last couple weeks, Dalton Varsho might be an all-star this year. So with those guys anchoring the middle of the lineup, anything you get out of the likes of Brandon Belt, Whit Merrifield, who you just can't get out of the lineup right now because he keeps getting on base and being effective. Kevin Kiermaier has been... Hang on, no, I want to talk about this. Last year, there was a plan to beat the Blue Jays. And not just last year, but since 2015, there has been a plan to beat the Blue Jays. And the plan is keep them off base so that when they inevitably hit a home run, it's only one run instead of 2 or 3. My point being that if you took away the power game, you took away the big bop, wait for the 3-run home run, 2 bloop and a blast type situation, you take that off the table, the Blue Jays don't have another club in their bag. That's how they win games. They outbash you. This year, oh boy, that's not true anymore. Watching Whit Merrifield literally take a walk, take a run, go to third on a ball in the dirt or whatever, and then come in on a sacrifice fly, I swear to God that exact situation has happened 2 or 3 times this year. I don't know how many double steals we've had in the last decade. I swear to God they happen every other week on this team. Between George wanting to get back into the running game, the additions of Varsho, Kiermaier, and especially Merrifield, all these guys run, they love to run, they want to run, and with the league making it easier for them to run and kind of giving them the green light a little bit, they are taking advantage, and it is the sweetest plum. I honestly forgot how much fun it is to have a force the action, get out there and take that extra base, first to third on every single to right field kind of team. It's intoxicating. I think at this point I would take a bullet for Kevin Kiermaier. And if you had told me this time last year that I would say something like that into a camera for other human beings to see, I might have lit myself on fire in protest of a future that I didn't want to live in. But here we are, and it's wonderful. Not just wonderful, Funderful. Yeah, I don't like the taste of that either, but I'm leaving it. Point is, there is a dynamic quality to this team that simply hasn't been there in at least 10 years, and it's bloody refreshing. I'm really excited to see if they can be maintained. I still am not entirely convinced we're going to get 162 games out of Kevin Kiermaier, or rather like 140 or whatever it is since you rest him every once in a while. I don't think you're going to get a full season out of him, but for what he has done so far, already more than worth the money and the investment in bringing him in. And if he's remotely this kind of player in the playoffs, same goes with Merrifield. I don't know how much you're going to get out of him, but if he's this guy in the playoffs, that really adds some clubs to our bag that just make it so what happened in game 1 of the playoffs last year won't happen this year. This is a different team that would not allow that kind of game to happen. Only point of concern is Alejandro Kirk has looked bad. When he's not driving the ball into the gaps, he is a double play machine, and that's an issue, especially because he seems to be the personal catcher of several pitchers, including the benighted Alek Manoah. Boy, that battery's not really doing it right now, huh? But that's literally the only point of concern in the lineup. Brandon Belt seems to have figured it out. As I said, Whit Merrifield, you can't take him out of the lineup. Santiago Espinal hasn't really gotten it going, but again, it doesn't matter because you have Merrifield playing second base every day anyway. And the best part of Santiago Espinal was always his glove. Last couple years, he's kind of hit above his weight because, I don't know, baseball's weird, but now he's regressing back to the guy we always thought he was, which is kind of like a glove first super utility guy. And that's great and very valuable, so no one's worried about it. Bo is incredible. I don't care about his throwing errors. Shut up about it. He's great. Vlad is great. He's a two-way demon. He's a great defensive first baseman. Also, he tears the cover off the ball. I'm not worried about the lack of home runs. They will come because he's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and everyone knows that they're going to come, so everyone just relax. This team's great, and it's in a great spot. And they're a lot of fun to watch, which is not always the case. Sometimes some teams are really, really good and they win a lot of games, and the winning is the fun part, not necessarily watching the team play. This team is a lot of fun to watch play. It brings a lot of joy to the process of watching baseball. And that's a pretty good situation to be in as a fan, frankly. A winning team that's also fun, best case. So according to the recent trends of we either sweep or are swept, it is time to be swept against the Yankees. And I don't like that. So let's get off that train and get back to our regular scheduled programming of winning 2 out of every 3 games. That'd be great. And let's start tonight with Alec figuring out where his slider went and how to get it back to being the elite level that it was before, and frustrating a Yankees team thinking they can feast on a weakened pitcher when he's down. That would be lovely. I'm going to call it there because otherwise I will gush effusively over this team forever. I am back to our regular schedule of after every series. So I'll see you at the end of the Yankees series. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you are so inclined. Catch you on the flip side. I've really got to come up with a better sign-off than that. Anyway, goodbye forever. Not forever. Please come back.